Hello and welcome to the channel Neville Goddard. As you think in your heart, so you are. All is yours. Do not go seeking for that which you are. Appropriate it, claim it, assume it. Everything depends upon your concept of yourself. That which you do not claim as true of yourself cannot be realized by you. The promise is, whosoever hath, to him it shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that which he seemed to have. Hold fast in your imagination to all that is lovely and of good report, for the lovely and the good are essential in your life if it is to be worthwhile. Assume it. You do this by imagining that you already are what you want to be, and already have what you want to have. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Be still, and know that you are that which you desire to be, and you will never have to search for it. In spite of your appearance of freedom of action, you obey, as everything else does, the law of assumption. Whatever you might think of the question of free will, the truth is your experiences throughout your life are determined by your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious. An assumption builds a bridge of incidents that lead inevitably to the fulfillment of itself. Man believes the future to be natural development of the past, but the law of assumption clearly shows that this is not the case. Your assumption places you psychologically where you are not physically. Then your senses pull you back from where you were psychologically to where you are physically. It is these psychological forward motions that produce your physical forward motions in time. Precognition permeates all the scriptures of the world. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you might be also. And know I have told you before it came to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe. John chapter 14, verse 2, 3, and 29. The I in this quotation is your imagination, which goes into the future, into one of the many mansions. Mansion is the state desired. Telling of an event before it occurs physically is simply feeling yourself into the state desired until it has the tones of reality. You go and prepare a place for yourself by imagining yourself into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Then you speed from the state of the wish fulfilled, where you have not been physically, back to where you were physically a moment ago. Then, with an irresistible forward movement, you move forward across a series of events to the physical realization of your wish fulfilled. That where you have been in imagination, there you will be in the flesh also.
Hello guys, here is another video I'd like to share with you an interesting part in this chapter of this book. You know, just before expecting something to come into your life, you need to know that you must first implement an idea into your mind, into your subconscious. You need to sow a seed in order to reap. That's why we are told, what you sow, you shall also reap. First you need to pray, or as there is said, you need to visualize the wish fulfilled before getting it into your life. First, implement the idea into your subconscious, then, believing it, let the subconscious bring it to you. Let's now jump into this interesting part. Whatever you suggest with confidence is law to the subjective mind. It is under obligation to objectify that which you mentally affirm. Not only does the subject execute the state affirmed, but he does it as though the decision had come of itself, or the idea had originated by him. Control of the subconscious is dominion over all. Each state obeys one mind's control. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your beliefs, which in turn is the all-potent factor in the visible states. Imagination and faith are the secrets of creation. Okay guys, I just wanted to share this beautiful quote with you and remind you these gems. Don't forget to implement an idea into your subconscious mind and wait it confidently to come into your life. Thanks for watching.
So tonight we will show you what I have done in the past with great success and how it operates. Now, if I wanted something in this world, and who doesn't, I would formulate an act which would imply that I have it. And then in my imagination, I would simply, having performed that act, I would yield completely to this being within me to execute it. I would fall off into sleep, convinced that he heard me, that he saw my act in faith. I simply yield completely to him, having acted. It's an act of self-commission. I perform the act. What act? I act as though I had what I sought. I act as though I heard that you have what you asked of me. I perform an act, and then I yield completely to that depth of my own being, who is God, and allow him from that depth to externalize it for me. All I have to do is to completely yield to this being within me, for he has ways and means I, on this level of my being, know not of. I rise then under compulsion. And under this compulsion I go through a series of events which will lead up to the fulfillment of that to which I yield. I assume that it's done. And then I commune with myself and gave thanks within me that it is done. And it works in every way. You want to be, and you name it. You want to be successful in the world of Caesar, in dollars and cents, nothing wrong with it. You want to be a successful doctor, successful lawyer, I don't care what it is. You want to be, well then formulate in your mind's eye what it would be like if it were true. How would you see the world if you were now the man that you would like to be? See it in your mind's eye, and then yield yourself completely to the depth of your own being. How do I do that? Simply fall asleep in the assumption. I dare to assume that I am the man that at the moment reason denies, and then fall asleep in that assumption, leaving it completely to the depth of my own being to externalize it in my world. I will wake tomorrow morning under compulsion to do certain things which I had not formulated, I hadn't determined. I'll find I'll meet the right people. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other. And it all adds up towards the externalization of my assumption. So within you is that power, within you is that wisdom, to do anything that you desire in this world. So this is the faith of which I speak. How do I do it? You can sit right here. And you go to bed at night, as you're told in the 4th Psalm. Commune with your own self upon your bed and be silent. You don't commune with another, you commune with your own self. That's God. For the self of man is God. When you say, I am, that's God. There is no other God. But you don't see him. Now, he has become invisible. The darkest night in the world was when God became invisible. He told the story to all of us before we set forth. Then he became invisible and took up his residence in us. He became invisible. And in us, he is I am, my own wonderful human imagination. That's God. So I don't see my imagination as I see objects in space. For imagination is the reality that is causing these objects in space. So I see the fruits of its activity, but I do not see it because it is invisible. The day will come, I will see it. I have seen him. He has no beginning, no end. He is the Ancient of Days. But his infinite love is nothing but love. Yet he will wait on us just as swiftly and as indifferently when the will in us is evil as when it is good. For it is he who does all things, that I kill, I make alive. I wound, I heal. I do all these things, and none can deliver out of my hand. So if the will in man is evil, he will execute it. If it is good, he will execute it, because there is no other creator. So it's entirely up to man what he imagines. What am I going to imagine? But remember, when I imagine, I must imagine and then completely yield. That is faith. You've been taught to believe you're a worm. You came out of a swamp. And then suddenly you became a tadpole, and you became something else, and finally you find yourself a man. Forget it. You are the gods who came down from heaven and assumed the restriction, the limitation of man. This is the limit of contraction, and you assumed it. And you're going to fulfill a definite purpose in man. While you walk the earth as man, that predetermined plan will erupt within you, and the whole thing will unfold within you, beginning with the resurrection. The resurrection did not take place in the Near East, in some little place where they're looking for it now. It takes place in man. Man is where God is buried. The Holy Sepulchre is the skull of man. It's not in the Near East. The Bethlehem that they're talking about is in the skull of man. Zion, his holy place where he dwells, that's the skull of man. And the whole drama unfolds within man. And man awakens within himself to find himself completely sealed within his skull. And he comes out like a child being born out of his own skull. And then, a few months later, comes an explosion in his skull, and that compartment that contained the Son of God, who is his will, who is his wisdom, releases the Son. You would not let my soul remain in hell, said he, in the 16th Psalm. So he brings him up, he resurrects his son, and the son is David. And David, looking at the Father, and the Father for the first time knows who he is. Memory returns. And the Son was the one who revealed him to himself. So the whole drama unfolds within man, and the whole thing is contained within the skull of man. Has nothing to do with anything on the outside. They're looking in vain, all the archaeologists, and they bring back all this nonsense. You are the Lord Jesus Christ. There is nothing outside of man. The whole drama takes place within man. It has nothing to do with anything outside. You're living in a world of shadows, and the drama is within. So let us now get back to this simple approach of faith. Do you know what you want, either for yourself or for another? Construct a scene which would imply the fulfillment of your dream. Just construct it. Enter into it just as though it were true. Feel what it would feel like if it were true. And give thanks to the one who is going to execute it. It's your own being, I grant you, but he is the depth of your own being. He is the Father. You haven't yet found him, but he is the Father. And you are now on the surface of your being. So fall asleep in the conviction that things are as you desire them to be, in confidence that he will execute it. I use the word he, it's yourself. But for clarity's sake, I say he, because you're not aware of him as yet. You will be one day. Everyone will be aware of their being. And because that being has one Son, and that one Son is the Son of all, we are one. There's only one. There aren't millions of gods, only one God. But the one God is made up of a brotherhood. And we are the brothers, raising ourselves to the level of the one God. But I've been sent to tell you this, and tell you I will and must. If only a few hear it, what does it matter? You hear it with conviction. Because I tell you the truth, it will last. I am not here to set up some little ism. I am not here to speculate and try to set up some little philosophical setup that may work. No. I want no church, no ism. Just to tell you who you are. And you will tell it to others, and others will tell it, because in the end you're going to prove it to be true. You can't rub it out because it is true. All that I have told you is true. I'm not speculating. I'm not theorizing. I stood in the presence of the infinite being in his infinite love, and he embraced me. And he sent me. After he embraced me. Therefore love embraced me. Therefore guided by love. We became one body. People misled morning, noon, and night by so-called holy men. Forget it. Man comes to you telling you he's a holy person, turn around and start running. All these holy fellows. They just simply meet you and meet another crowd, and next thing they do, they run to the bank with what was in your pocket. Picked up one fellow here, he's flying off to Switzerland. He was in Spain after having collected a fortune. They found $300,000 on him. And he was at the Maharishi that came up through this country. It wasn't the Maharishi, it was his secretary running off to Switzerland, where you put it into your Swiss bank. And all the people fall for it morning, noon, and night. And so if you're taking over, you hate to hear it, because people hate to know that others know they were beguiled. And so those who gave their fortunes to him, $500 to teach them how to meditate, of all the nonsense in the world. Teach you how to meditate? It's just a simple, simple thing. You don't meditate on your navel. You don't meditate on any of these things whatsoever. You know what you want? What would the feeling be like if it were true? What would it be like? Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Well, anyone can do that. A child can do that. What would it be like if it were true? That's meditating. Now yield completely. And the being within you will take that and externalize it for you. Meditating on your Kundalini fire and all this nonsense. Has nothing to do with it. I'm going into so-called diet. Diets will not commit you or commend you to God. He gave you a palate, didn't he? Or then exercise the palate too. And so I'm going to go on a certain diet. A friend of mine went on the diet of things that you should only feed parrots. Well, she isn't a parrot. Eating pumpkin seeds, eating all these things. If you really enjoy them, but don't tell me that you really enjoy them. Of course, you could acquire a taste for anything. I don't say you can't. But exercise that God-given gift. It's a palate. And simply enjoy it. So, to come down to the ninth message on faith. By faith, the worlds were created by the Word of God. Faith does not give reality to the unseen things. Faith is loyalty to unseen reality. For this thing exists. All things exist. I tell you from my own experience that the entire world that is unseen to this world exists now. It actually exists. Not out there beyond the stars, right here. It's all existing right here. And the day will come that you will actually awake and you'll be able to step into these unnumbered sections of time. 1,000 years ago has not passed away. And 2,000 years from now is not something that is going to suddenly form itself. It is now. And you are simply in a section of time. And the day will come to be able to move into any section of time. All these things exist now. And the purpose of it all is simply to awaken. And when you awaken, who are you? You are the author of it all. You are God. God the Creator. But to come back to our wonderful approach tonight. You want a better job? You want more money? You want this? You want that? Don't be ashamed of it. Who gave you the urge? The Father did. You have the desire. It came from the depths of your own being. So He can execute it. He only asks you to have faith. Faith in what? Faith in Him. Have faith in God. All right. Where is it? Use my own wonderful human imagination. I cannot see the fulfillment now, but He will do it. For now, assume that I am already the man that I want to be, and yield completely to that assumption, and fall asleep. Just completely fall asleep and completely forget it. A lady who was here tonight, she called me up on the phone here just a few days ago, and asked something of me. I will not tell you, it's too personal. But she asked me to please care for a certain thing. It's so simple. I sat in my chair after I spoke to her on the phone and heard her tell me. But she came back tonight and told me that it has happened. She is here. She's seated here tonight. Drove all the way from San Bernardino to tell me this story. And it simply worked. What did I do? Didn't cost me anything. Cost you nothing. What does it cost anyone to have faith in God? Why put a price on it? Why charge anyone?